World War II, 1939 to 45. 1939 to 40. In September 1939, the world was being greeted yet with another episode in the name of World War II. This was the most destructive catastrophe which the world experienced in the period between 1939 and 1945. We believe by this time, on August 6, 1945, USA dropped an atomic bomb known as Little Boy. Known as Little what? Boy, on Hiroshima, which left between 90,000 and 1,600 people dead or fatally injured. On August 9, 1945, another bomb known as Fatima was dropped on Nagasaki and occasioned unimaginable havoc in terms of life and property. So we believe by this time, the Second World War is the leading war ever in this world. The war took place, the war took place on land, in air, on water, even under the what? Under the what? The water. Now the hard question is, what caused the second? What caused the second what? World War. What caused the Second World War? Number one, the harsh terms of the 1919 Versailles Settlement. We believe by this time, the Versailles Settlement of 1919 contributed to the outbreak of the Second World War. For example, it disarmed only one country called the German. In this kind of arrangement, I can say it blamed only one country called the German for causing the First World War. The Versailles Treaty was dictated on the German. So the question is, were the Germans just going to sit just like that? Of course, no. They had to make revenge. So we are like saying today, the Versailles Settlement of 1919 caused the Second World War because the Germans were longing for revenge. Were longing for what? Revenge. So I can say the harsh terms of the 1919 Versailles Settlement caused the Second World War. I have to look at the main first. Another key element, the revival of arms race. The revival of arms what? Race. We believe at one time, after the First World War, there was disarmament of countries. Disarmament of what? Countries. But when Adolf Hitler took political power in Germany, instead of disarming the countries, for him, he rearmed the country called the German. By the time of the Second World War, Germany alone had 2 million soldiers ready to fight. Even they had an appetite of fighting. So we are saying the revival of arms race caused the Second World War. Because as countries were competing in the production of military equipment, the question is, were they going to use military equipment to be used as decorations on a wedding day or what? Of course, no. They had to be used in the war. And this caused the Second World War. Then the revival of the alliance system. Another key reason that caused the Second World War was the revival of the alliance system. Let me tell you, the alliance system caused the First World War, but later it was revived, where Germany formed the Berlin-Rome-Churchill axis, and Britain formed the Allied Powers camp. The question is, were these camps created acting as football teams? Of course, no. So it was the revival of the alliance system that made the powers to fight against one another. That's why Hitler had Berlin-Rome-Churchill axis, Britain had Allied Powers camp, and this caused the Second World War. the leading war ever in this world. The war took place on earth, on water, even under the water. Another key element that caused the Second World War was the inherent weakness of the League of Nations. I can say the League of Nations, which was formed after the First World War, one of its major aims was to promote peace. But in this kind of arrangement, I can say the weakness of the League of Nations caused the Second World War. Because the League failed to answer the critical questions of the time. Dictators like Hitler and Mussolini attacked countries knowing that the League of Nations was very weak and it was going to do nothing to them. That's why they rose to power and destabilized the peace. So the inherent weakness of the League of Nations caused the Second World War. It failed to stop dictators from doing whatever they were doing, and this led to the greatest war in this world. So we are looking at the key issues that caused the Second World War. Then the rise of different dictators to power. It is seen the rise of Mussolini in Italy, the rise of Hitler in Germany, the rise of General Tojo in Japan, General Franco in Spain. All of these wanted to dominate the whole of Europe and possibly the whole world. It is this that threatened countries like Britain. Britain had to call upon countries like Russia, France, to join hands together to fight big names like Adolf Hitler, and this caused the Second World War. So friends, we are saying the rise of dictators caused the Second World War because their mission was not only to control their countries, but they wanted the whole of Europe and possibly the whole world. So we are looking at the Second World War. Another key element, the negative effects of the Great World Economic Depression, 1929 to 35. I can say the negative effects of the Great World Economic Depression. After the First World War, Europe experienced world economic depression. It was a situation characterized by high levels of poverty, high levels of unemployment. I can tell you people suffer to the maximum. Inflation is about persistent increase in the price of goods and services. In this kind of arrangement, if you enter the restaurant and you ask for food, if you are eating slowly, by the time you finish the food, the price had increased. So you had to hurry in order not to be affected by the increase. This happened after the First World War. So dictators capitalized on the Great World Economic Depression to convince people to choose them as leaders to solve the hard questions of the time. And this led to the rise of Adolf Hitler. When he rose to power, it caused the Second World War. So the Great World Economic Depression caused the Second World War. Then the presence of ideological differences. We believe after the success of the 1917 Bolshevik Revolution under Lenin and Joseph Stalin, Russia took to spread communism in Western Europe. This made zero tolerance in 1939. This view of communism contributed to the rise of dictators. It is seen because of the fear of communism in countries like Germany, dictators had to take political power like Adolf Hitler. Because Hitler, for him, he convinced the capitalists that he was against communism. Since in a communist state, all of properties are supposed to be owned by the government. And the government has to look after the what? The masses. So what happened? The capitalists, for fear of communism, they supported the rise of Adolf Hitler. When they supported his rise to power, it is this that later led to the Second World War. Altogether. So we are like saying the presence of ideological differences caused the Second World War. So we need to understand the hard points in causing the Second World War. Then the 1931 to 39 Spanish Civil War. It is said General Franco in Spain staged the Spanish Civil War. When Franco got political power, he was, by the way, supported by Hitler and Mussolini. When they supported Franco and he succeeded, this made them to become confident. They believed that since we have supported General Franco and we have succeeded, because Britain and France were against the rise of General Franco, this made Hitler to believe that if we wage a war against these countries also, we are going to defeat them altogether. Since we have supported Franco, and Franco has also what? Succeeded. And this caused the Second World War. Then the emergence of aggressive nationalism. It is said the emergence of aggressive nationalism. Aggressive nationalism meant by this time countries wanted to expand in different areas. Germany under Hitler was never contented. That's why it spread its influence in Austria. It spread its influence in Czechoslovakia. So this aggressive nationalism threatened big countries like Britain. They joined together to fight against Adolf Hitler. Hitler had the support of Berlin-Rome Total Axis members. And this finally led to the Second World War. So I can say the growth of aggressive nationalism caused the Second World War. Since the leading countries could not just leave Hitler just like that. Then another one, imperialism. Imperialism, this is the desire of a country to extend its influence beyond its what? Boundaries. So imperialism caused the Second World War. How? In the way that Germany were under Hitler was never contented. It spread its influence beyond its boundaries. For example, in Poland, it was imperialism that made Adolf Hitler to attack Poland. When Hitler attacked Poland, nations joined hands together to fight against Adolf Hitler, and this caused the Second World War. Because Hitler was supported by Berlin-Rome Total Axis, and this caused the Second World War. Then the appeasement policy. Appeasement policy. What was all about appeasement policy? This was engineered by a man called Chamberlain. Chamberlain wanted to appease Hitler and Mussolini. He realized that these countries were humiliated so much after the First World War. So he wanted to appease Hitler and what? Mussolini. But the more they were appeased, because he wanted to prevent them from causing the Second World War. But the more they were appeased, they became confident. That's why Hitler demanded for more and more territories. He demanded for Austria, it was given to him. He demanded for Czechoslovakia, it was given to him. This made him to become confident. He told Chamberlain, I want Poland today. Chamberlain said, we cannot give Hitler what? Poland. Hitler said, I want Poland today. Chamberlain refused. On 1st September, Hitler attacked Poland. Then on 3rd September, nations joined hands together to fight against Hitler. And this caused the Second World War. So it was a question of the appeasement policy, which was started to prevent the war, but instead it caused the what? It caused the what? The war. So friends, you need to understand the key issues that caused the Second World War. Another one, anti-Semitism or execution of the Jews. Let me tell you, Hitler claimed that the Jews betrayed Germany in the First World War. He collected 6 million Jews and he put them in gas chambers. I can tell you the world could not listen to this. It is this that made Britain, France, Russia to join hands together to fight against Adolf Hitler, because he killed 6 million Jews. By the way, Hitler is the leading person ever in this world who has ever killed so many people at once at that level. That is Adolf Hitler. Other countries could not accept this. They joined hands together to fight against Adolf Hitler, and this caused the Second World War. Another one, the role played by the press. It is said the Poles and Germans, with the use of the press or media houses, labeled against one another. The newspapers and other media houses, such as radios in Germany, were dominated by the Nazis and used by Adolf Hitler to encourage the Germans to rise up against Poland altogether. So the role played by the press. Newspapers wrote that if Hitler doesn't attack Poland, it is going to show that Hitler is a coward. It is this that made Hitler to prove his point by attacking what? Poland altogether. And this caused the Second World War. So the role played by the what? The press. So the role played by the press caused the Second World War. Another one, the USA's isolation policy. It is said, you remember Woodrow Wilson brought the 14 points program altogether. But members disagree with the 14 points program of Woodrow Wilson. You remember when he presented them to a man called Clément of France. Clément said, Woodrow Wilson speaks like a Jesus Christ of Nazareth. If the Almighty God gave us 10 laws and we turn against them, what about the 14 points of Woodrow? We shall see. In other words, they were not willing to honor. So it is this that made USA to isolate itself from what was taking place in where? In Europe. And this finally caused the Second World War. Because the dictators knew they were